Well, hey there, Farm Wife fam. It's me, Angela, the Inquisitive Farm Wife, and we are in the kitchen, and I'm so excited. I'm going to be working on a project to help me for spring. That's right. I'm going to put together some freezer meals so that I have, well, one for this week, and we're going to make two more so that I can have for this spring when life starts to get just a little bit busy around here. Today's video is part of a collaboration hosted by my friend Lynn over at Bucket List Homestead. I'm so excited that she invited me to be one of the participants. Every day, Monday through Friday, there'll be a new video for all of you to watch, and at the very end, on March 6th, there'll be a live giveaway on her channel. So make sure you go check her out. I will tag her channel, I will put down some information, and you guys can check out other great freezer meal videos. I just love having freezer meals ready, and what I'm going to show you today is one of the farmer's favorite, and I like it because the way we're making it today is going to be super simple and super easy, and I'll share some tricks with you on how you can customize it to your own liking. But for now, I'm going to go gather up the ingredients, and then I'll meet you back here at the counter where we put this together in lickety-split, super fast time. So I did a little cross-referencing online, and evidently the way I make a beef shepherd's pie is not typical. And today is no different. I've been in a pantry challenge, so I'm going to be using a few things out of my pantry. Typically, you'll see, a lot of times I would use like a leftover roast to do this with, but because I didn't want to use one of my roast and we have plenty of hamburger on hand, today we're using hamburger. I'm also not going to be making a lot of things from scratch because I've got some stuff in the cupboards that need to be used, but I wanted you to know that you can change things up however your taste buds desire and make it work and make a delicious meal for your family that it's worth putting in the freezer and making multiple of. So let's look at the ingredients I have going today. We're starting out with some beef that I grew myself. Super proud of that. And we personally like the frozen mixed vegetables, but if you have carrots and potatoes on hand and you want to chop those up and get them nice and soft, go for it. We also like to, I'm going to chop up the onion and we're going to fry it with our hamburger. And I also have some multicolored bell peppers. We are a pepper loving family, so I'm going to add that in there to give it a little extra flavor. And instead of making my own gravy today, I have these that my mother gifted me with. My husband's not really a big turkey fan. I won't be making any chicken or turkey pot pies anytime soon. So I thought, you know what? We're going to go ahead and use this up. We're going to doctor it up with some special seasonings and flavorings and go ahead and make this one that I know he will love. We don't have any potatoes on hand, but I got really lucky and I hit the clearance, and for $1.25 I got this huge box of mashed potatoes. So that's what we're going to use today, but I'm going to add extra butter and extra sour cream to make it extra delicious. I forgot to mention that you're going to want some pans. Today I'm going to use two of the disposable ones that have the matching lids, so that it's just going to be for easy cleanup. Or if I happen to want to gift this to a neighbor that maybe they have a loss in the family or a new baby or just, you know, a farm injury, that's what we do. So having a frozen meal on the ready is super handy. And I'll show you my trick with these bags when we go to put that in the freezer. But I also have a pan so that we can have a meal of this week. While my cast iron is warming up, we're going to go ahead and chop up these onions. I have enough here to make easily 3, maybe up to 4 of these pot pies, shepherd's pies. Gosh, they're known in different names in different places around the world. Some people call it a cottage pie, but what I'm about to do and how I do it differently may have people disagree. But whatever you want to call it, it has got beef and vegetables, and it's topped with potatoes, and it's nothing more than delicious. Maybe we'll call this the redneck version. I'm going to go ahead and chop up our onion here. And you can save these bits and pieces that were not the scraps here to make a beautiful broth later. I like to just cut it down the middle, peel off that outer layer, cut off the tops, leave on the bottom, and I do that so that if you just don't cut all the way to it, you can make strips along here. And then you go the opposite direction and you have a nice dice. The lighting is not the best over here, but I'm just going to add those onions right on top for now. We're going to let this cook a little bit and I'll stir it, and then later we'll add in those peppers. I also like to add salt and pepper and garlic to my meat when I cook it. And the salt will just bring out the flavors in that onion. It kind of brings out all the liquid. My husband loves pepper. And some garlic powder. Stir that in. Oh, that smells lovely. Oh, that smells so good. Guys, home cooking's the best. I tell you what. I'm going to go ahead and add those peppers since they're frozen. We can add them now. The meat's just starting to get a little bit brown. And there's probably about, I don't know, maybe a cup per bag, cup and a half. I'm terrible. I'm a no-measure cook. I just, you know, I cook with what we have and what we like. When you've been doing this as long as I have, you just go with it. Let that kind of cook a little bit while we go back over to the counter. We're big potato eaters, and so if I have leftovers, it's not going to be a big deal, but I'm going to go ahead and cook up this entire box. It's so easy. You just add your water, butter, and salt. You boil in the saucepan. You remove it from heat. Then you stir in your milk and potato flakes with a fork, or I use a masher, and then the entire box of potatoes. Super easy, super fast. Let's do it. This is almost done. We've got our water going in the back. We've got our butter, and we're going to add our salt, and once this comes to a boil, we'll add the milk and the potatoes. So now, this is just easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I'm going to take this gravy, and we're going to doctor this up. We're making 3 to 4 pans, and so I figured 3 of these would be perfect, and I've got 3 to use, but by all means, if you want to make your own beef gravy, it really doesn't take that long. It's not that hard. You could actually make it with your hamburger or whatever meat you choose. And don't throw these away, because these are excellent to put freeze-dried and dehydrated items in. So these will go into the wash to be saved for future projects. I'm going to add some Danos. This has rosemary, garlic, onion, lemon peel, orange peel, and other herbs and spices. Okay, we love garlic, so I'm going to add some garlic. You guys, this isn't a measurement kind of video. It's just not going to be. This is just a how she cooks. Let's be inspired. Let's try something new, and how can we make it work for our family? Ideally, we would have fresh vegetables. You could use canned vegetables. You could use frozen that is not mixed, but we like veggies, so I'm going to go ahead and add mixed. And if you have potatoes, potatoes work really well in this, but because we use so many of them mashed on top, I don't feel it's necessary to add potatoes. Really coming together fast, guys. Let's go check on that meat. It's probably time to be drained. I know a lot of this is just liquid from the onions and peppers. I'm going to go ahead and drain it into this bowl. I like to give it, especially in the wintertime, to give the broth or the fat off of this to the dogs on top of their food as a special treat. Oh, I forgot something I wanted to do. Better than beef bouillon. because this is a beef recipe, I want to give it that beef umami. And we didn't really get that when we were pan searing. So I'm going to add this into our gravy mix here and really give it that beef flavor. I love using it in soups, stews, and obviously casseroles. It just really amps up the flavor of things. This turkey gravy is beef gravy. Now we've got that mixed in. We're going to add our drained beef. Make sure we get that coated well. The frozen vegetables is going to cool down our hamburger mixture. I want to add some Worcestershire sauce. And if I had some red wine in the house, I would be adding that in here too. Ooh, yes. Yum, yum. Let's go check on the potatoes. We've got a nice boil, so let's take it to the countertop to finish this off. Okay, I'm just going to give that a quick stir, making sure my butter is melted. That was farm fresh butter from my cow that I made. You know, just to make it a little more homemade after cheating a little bit with the instant potatoes and such. I'm guessing here on my milk. I'm going to add that in there. We just got that from the cows yesterday. Give that a quick stir. And then the tool I have right here is some sort of a masher from Pampered Chef. I don't know if it's a potato masher. I think it maybe is an avocado masher or something like that. But I find with my instant potatoes, it just works perfectly to kind of mix everything together. And there it all went. That's a lot of potatoes that I did not have to peel. So for me, no shame in using instant, but don't get me wrong, I like homemade mashed potatoes too. So what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to get all the flakes kind of mixed in so that they equally absorb. And then we're going to let that sit and rest for just a moment. We're going to go ahead and spray these. Divide this out. I'm just wanting to go, I don't know, maybe a third of the way up the pan with our meat mixture. I forgot to put this in here. It's another whole stick of butter, but I want to break this up a little bit. The last thing we need while I'm sitting here trying to show you this is for me to injure myself. So I've got some, it's pretty much frozen, but it's not completely frozen. We're going to add a whole extra stick of butter to our potatoes. And I'm adding them in now because this is also going to help cool off these potatoes. So I'm going to shove that down in there. I should have done that immediately. And we're going to let that sit and kind of melt. But on top, we love sour cream. So I'm going to add at least half this container of sour cream. I'm also going to add some garlic powder, a little bit of the Danos. And we'll kind of start putting some of that sour cream in there to cool that off. And we'll let this set and we'll come back and mix it all up. Now while our potatoes are cooling, I'm going to go ahead and get our lids ready. As much as you think you're actually going to remember what you put in the freezer, where you put it, what it is, and what to do with it, you won't. Get yourself a permanent marker and label things while you make them. Beef. Shepards Pie. And you want to make sure you say thaw. And then you bake at 350 degrees, 30 to 45 minutes. I decided probably a good 30 to 45 minutes covered, and then an additional 15 minutes. Just use foil wrap for the ones that I'm gonna have in the fridge later this week. And I'm just gonna kind of turn and pull this through, because if you overwork mashed potatoes, whether they're store-bought or homemade, they can get rubbery, so we don't want that. Ooh, there was a pocket of butter. I don't know if you guys saw that. Oh, there's another one. So I'm calling this done. If there's some little bits of butter or sour cream that don't get mixed in, it's gonna be just fine. And now I'm just gonna kind of start dolloping on our mashed potatoes. Okay, now that I have gotten my first round on, we'll go ahead and add extra potatoes to all the pans. With the back of the spoon, I want to make sure I get all the way to the sides, because we're kind of wanting to seal that vegetable right on in there. And then I'll go around and kind of clean it up. And if you just kind of push and squish and squiggle and maneuver it around, it's kind of like decorating a cake, you know? You don't want to pull up those vegetables, just like you do not want to pull up that crumb on the cake. And to finish this off, my family's favorite. We like parsley on just about everything. And if you wanted to be a little extra, you could put pats of butter on this to make it even more decadent. But for today, probably have added enough for my family. And because we had cooled everything during each process, this can immediately go into the refrigerator and then into the freezer. Everything is nice. If you feel this, it's nice and cool. And you probably could even put it in the freezer, but it is suggested to put things in the refrigerator for a few hours and then add them to the freezer. And this is gonna go in my oven for supper tonight. And the reason you put the foil on there is so that you don't burn that parsley or those potatoes. So I told you I'd tell you about these. I don't have big enough bags to use my vacuum sealer or my chamber vacuum sealer. So what I do is I get these, I think they're 2.5 gallon bags from the Dollar Tree. They're 2.5 gallons, and they will fit these pans that I get from Sam's perfectly. And I just try to get out as much air as I can. This just helps in case there would be spillage, and one more layer to help protect against freezer burn. And here it is. My gravy got a little crazy. I turned it up to 425 to get it brown quickly because we're hungry and we tried to cheat. And then all the gravy was bubbling out, but I didn't get it here fast enough to show you. But ta-da! Here it is. Thanks so much for hanging out with me in the kitchen today. I hope that you give this recipe inspiration a try. Bye for now. We'll see you next time.